President Biden is on his way to Brownsville, Texas, where he is set to address the humanitarian crisis unfolding along the southern border and urge Congress to take action. At the same time, about 300 miles away, former President Trump is set to deliver remarks in Eagle Pass later today. Meanwhile, just right across the border, 3 miles from where President Biden is visiting, Noticias Telemundo anchor Julio Vaquero spoke to a mother of 3 from Venezuela, now living in a camp in Matamoros, Mexico. She describes her desperate journey towards the United States.
Horrible.
¿Sí?
Yo hasta secuestrada.
¿En dónde?
En Reynosa. Por ello, aguanto todo lo que he pasado. Yo soy muy de poca habla y me lo que dan es ganas de llorar después.
That was a woman named Rosa describing being kidnapped in Mexico. She was held for months before reaching that camp where Julio spoke with her. She said her family is everything for her, and she puts up with everything she has faced to make it through to the United States. It makes her want to cry, she says, whenever she thinks of what they have faced. Joining us now, NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez in Brownsville. NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns joins us from Eagle Pass, and Matthew Dowd served as chief strategist for the Bush-Cheney campaign. He is a senior MSNBC political contributor. Gabe, who exactly is the president set to meet with today, and what else can we expect from his visit?
Hi there, Jose. Good morning. Well, this will be President Biden's second trip to the southern border. He went to El Paso back in January of 2023, and this time around he is set to meet with local leaders as well as Border Patrol agents and first responders. Now, his schedule is a little bit in flux. It's sometimes kept under wraps, or always kept under wraps for security reasons, but we understand he is set to meet with these local leaders and hear firsthand about what it's like here on the ground. And Jose, he's expected to deliver this message and calling out House Republicans about what when it comes to his bipartisan border deals that was negotiated in the Senate. Sorry, Jose.
Sorry, Gabe. We just took a tech hit there. I apologize to you. We just took a tech hit from you, but I think you're back, and please continue.
Sure, no problem, Jose. Well, listen, the president plans to call out House Republicans for what he sees as obstructionism. And he really wants to hit that point that the bipartisan border deal that was negotiated in the Senate contained money for hiring more border agents, immigration judges, and also more detention beds. And so he is calling out House Republicans. And a senior administration official tells NBC News that the president is coming here to the border to maximize the political impact of this trip 1 week before the State of the Union, Jose.
And Gabe, do we know what went into the White House decision to actually visit Brownsville? Places, for example, like Tucson, Arizona, saw a 182% increase in migrant encounters. San Diego has seen a 73% increase. Why there? Do we know?
Well, the White House hasn't said yet, Jose, but that's a good question, and one that Border Patrol agents are asking. I just got done talking with a Border Patrol counsel, and there is some frustration that the president isn't going to a place that is seeing more illegal border crossings at the moment. As you said, places like San Diego, Arizona, and also Eagle Pass, Texas. The Rio Grande Valley, as you well know, Jose, in previous years has been the busiest sector, but right now it's not quite as busy as it has been previously for a variety of reasons. But still, the Border Patrol agent who I spoke with said that while there was some frustration that the president wasn't going to those other places, he did say that it is at least good that the president is coming to this area and seeing what it is really like on the ground and speaking with Border Patrol agents who have to work at this every single day, Jose.
Indeed. Dasha, meanwhile, what's Trump's message today in Eagle Pass?
Well, Jose, the Trump team tells us that he's going to come here to compare and contrast his record against President Biden's. We expect that he will highlight some personal stories of individuals impacted by all of this. We expect that he's going to arrive at Del Rio International Airport at around 1:40 Eastern, arrive here at Shelby Park, which is right on the border here, around 3 o'clock Eastern, and then we'll get remarks from him around 3:45 Eastern time. Now, the backdrop of this, Jose, is polls do show that the electorate is shifting to the right on this issue. Not just Republicans, but also Democrats are moving to center right on this as well. A recent Monmouth poll, a national poll, show that 84% of Americans saying illegal immigration is a serious problem, including 61% who say it's very serious. And these percentages are at an all-time high since Monmouth started taking this, asking this question around 2015. So the former President Trump is looking to tap into this shift. This is an issue where he sees some strength, despite the fact that he did help tank that bipartisan border deal a few weeks ago. But this is politically positive for him as his team sees it. He is planning to, really capitalize on what we saw in his first administration. He, remember, launched his first presidential bid on his hardline immigration policies. He plans to reinstate those. I'm talking Muslim ban. I'm talking the Remain in Mexico policy and Title 42, which banned asylum claims, and significantly expand that. And Jose, the difference if Trump is elected for a second term in the Oval Office is he has changed the legal landscape because of the justices and judges that he has put in place, that some of the things that got challenged last time around might be able to stay in place this time. Jose?
Yeah, and Matthew, just thinking about and Dana, mentioning the political side of it, which is clearly so important at this time. But, Matthew, I just keep thinking of, Rosa, that mother of three who is just across the border in Mexico, and just what she has been tortured with just so she could try to reach the United States, and there she is with her children. Matthew, these politics of these issues are so important, but it's like the humanity of it is so rarely included in that mix. I'm just wondering, what is it you think that, Matthew, the president could do to bring this conversation back to the human aspect of it?
I mean, I think that's an excellent point in this. And, we talk about the polls and all of that. And I've looked at a lot of polls over the last 30 years, especially as I was working for President Bush, who is the last Republican to try to achieve immigration reform, but was stopped by House Republicans in 2005 when he actually tried to get it done. The American public is really a two-handed approach to this, or a two-way approach to this. In one place, they want a strong hand on border enforcement. They want that and a system in place that's efficient and enforced in this. On the other hand, they have a great empathy and heartfelt of these immigrants that want to come forward, because nearly every single person watching this or in America is the son, daughter, grandson, or granddaughter, great-grandson. My great-grandfather came here as a 17-year-old with no money from Ireland, settled in Michigan in the course of this. They understand that, but I think the problem has been is the Biden administration and the Democrats have been too much in a defensive position on immigration. They have been too much of like, wait, we'll give you a few facts, but the border, and instead of going on the attack on it, which I actually think they should do, and I hope that's what President Biden does, which is expresses the humanity that's involved, as you said, but also expresses, here's what we want to do. And what's stopping us from doing these two things is Donald Trump and the Republicans in Congress. And that's, I think, the important thing that has not been conveyed in the course of this. And I think that's where the American public is. Enforce the border, and let's have some compassion for the people that are doing nothing except trying to come over here to find a job and feed their families.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that 2005 effort from George W. Bush, which he sent 2 cabinet members to Capitol Hill for months to try and hash out some agreement. And I also think of 2010, and I think of, any and all efforts that have gone by the wayside since 1986, the last time there was any comprehensive immigration reform in our country. Matthew, is it possible in 2024 to think that anything positive, substantial could come out of Capitol Hill when we're living through this so different, unique time?
Well, I'm an optimist at heart and hopeful at heart. And plus, I see an unbelievable human tragedy that's unfolding. And also what hasn't also been discussed as much, especially here in Texas where I live, and I've been to the border 50 times in the course of this, is how much of an economic impact immigrants have into Texas. We wouldn't have a construction industry in Texas. We wouldn't have an ag industry in Texas. We wouldn't have a hotel and restaurant businesses in Texas, but for the immigrants that have come over from across the border into Texas that have helped build Texas to the way it is and all the claims that are made about Texas in the course of this. I believe it can, though I don't think this year is the time for it to happen. I think much depends on voters in the November election and where they go. I think it's likely, if it's going to happen, is in the aftermath of November, if voters actually stay attuned. And one of the things, Jose, I want to say one final thing is the Republicans and Donald Trump's strategy seems to be, believe me, don't believe your lying eyes and ears in the course of this. That's what their strategy seems to be, and they are appealing to people's emotions in this. Hopefully we get through the 2024 election and we can actually settle down and deal with this, both humanitarian crisis and border crisis simultaneously.